Like, what's the difference you see between your older style programming, like your old ages and stages, compared to what you're doing with the early years?
Oh, okay. There's lots more freedom. There's lots more freedom, definitely freedom, and lots more input from the families and the children, and it's not so structured. It's definitely just free flowing, more freedom. The children are more involved, the parents are more involved, which makes it a lot more exciting for us to teach and for the kids to learn.
So this centre is so successful with family input. What would you contribute to the success of getting the family input into?
It'd be about making a big deal. So when a child brought in their family input, you'd make a big deal of it in front of the other children, and then the older children would go home and say, oh look, Riley today, he brought in and his dad did this. So it's more the excitement and just showing it off to the other families, so when they come in, the kids would be excited to share their friends' stories and interests and cultures and things. So then it's like a little competition, I guess. They're like, oh well, we can do this, we can bring this in, and I can cook, so I can come in and make sushi. So we've had like a mother come in and make sushi and everything with us. So
and has that built up the relationships with the parents?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the parents are a lot more open, and you seem to be on like it's not such a teacher-parent level. It's more of a personal level. Like it's a connection. It's a community, I guess. Being a community centre, it's more of a community connection.
Yeah.
It's not so much a parent-teacher level.
And what about the parents and parents? Are different families grouping together and becoming friends because of it?
Yeah, we are having, like when we have our days like Mother's Day and Easter parties and our parent information night, the parents are talking to each other, and because we went off into our rooms, they sort of met other parents that have children of the same age, so they could relate to each other and their stories and things like that.
Fantastic.
So.
And did you have a Father's Golf Day too?
We did have a Father's Golf Day. It was lots of fun. Fathers come back with lots of stories. So, the typical, I hit it this far and then,
And what are the benefits of doing like the curriculum in this way compared to what you have done in the past?
I think the children learn a lot more, whereas before we were preaching it to them, whereas they're actually telling us what they want to learn. And they seem to absorb it a lot more because it seems to be more at their level, more child-friendly, I guess. I work with toddlers, so they're just absorbing it all. It just seems to be taking it on a lot better.
Keep explaining more of that. Like, so for example, you're saying it's at the child's level, so it's child's interest?
Yeah, definitely the child's interest. So because it's their interest, they're actually teaching themselves in a way. I'm just guiding them around it as such, adding little inputs into it, but they're actually teaching themselves. So they're more, they're just absorbing it, they're creating it, they're teaching themselves. I'm basically just there to help mentor them as such.
And have you got examples of that?
Well, an example today with the blocks, we were building with the blocks, we were counting, and then one little boy's laid down and another little boy went and he lined the blocks up next to him. So then we were measuring using the blocks with the children lying down. So, we learnt that Riley was 7 blocks, but Bella was 8 blocks. So then, coming to maths as well as the building the blocks and the differences in their heights, and then they measured how tall I was with blocks. So it's giving me goosies. It was just really exciting. Like it just come out of building blocks on top of each other, and then someone laid down, and it just blew out of proportions. It was awesome.
Excellent. And how do you just naturally keep on extending those wonderful experiences compared to old school, we used to start the table or the activity, and now it's just like, oh well, we've got blocks we're building, now we're measuring.
It just sort of evolves. I don't know, it just happens because I think we're more open to it. It's not so structured now, so you're more open to these things. You seem to let them do it. Beforehand you say, oh, blocks is for building, you build, you count, but now you bring in everything. You bring in home corner. It just seems to be more open. We're not so shut as to the structured way. This is block corner, this is home corner. It's more open. You allow the children to explore the whole environment instead of just being set parts of it.
That's a really interesting thing. So who had to change, the children or you?
I think everyone. I think we all had to change. Like it's been a big change. It's been a hard change. It hasn't been like an overnight change. It's been something you've had to relearn. because when you first do your studies, they're so strict in it originally, whereas now it doesn't seem to be as strict. So we've all had to change. It's a big change. But I think the children have taken it on much easier because that's how they've been from birth. It's more us who've had to change a lot more.
Beautiful. And so what would be the advice you would give to someone about saying, well, what, if we did this in the past, the biggest thing you'd need to change in yourself would be?
The biggest thing you'd have to change itself would be relax. I think relax and just follow the children's lead. Follow the children, follow the families. Yeah, just relax and follow everyone else's, just follow their lead and just input, but don't overtake.
Beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you. That is amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's all. Thank
you. Now, what about the Centre Support Weekly Task? What have you got out of that?
Yeah, they're really good. They've actually made us think, when you talk about theorists and things, I'm not very good with theorists and adding them into the actual curriculum. So when you guys have put them in the actual tasks and questions and things, we're actually having to think about it, but not really think about it because it's in the question. We're just answering the question, but we're actually relating it to a theorist as such. So I've liked that side of it. That's been really good, the theorists side.
And has the task causing better communication with the children, or?
Yeah, with the children, but also with the staff, because we're actually sitting down, in the toddler and there's 3 of us, we're actually sitting down together and we're communicating to each other about what we see, because we're 3 different girls, we're 3 different personalities, so it's a good way that we sit down and communicate and express what we've seen happen in the rooms, because you see things differently. So that's been a good learning curve, is to sort of sit down and talk to each other.
So you're learning from the others reflecting?
Yes, yeah, because we sit down, we answer it all together, and we're all sort of putting it all in together and answering it as a group, but from each other's perspective, so it's a whole. Beautiful. Reflection.
And so just tell me about the physical, mechanical process of it. So, when you get it, and then what you do and how you
when we get it, we go, oh hell. No. No, when we get it, Beck brings it into us. We'll generally, because the children do sleep, we're lucky we have got that period of, say, about half hour, that we'll sit down and do one little part of it. So we don't do the whole lot all at once. We break it up over the week. So then by Friday it's all fully completed. But it's an ongoing reflection. So it's not like a big mass on the Friday that we're like, oh God, what happened Monday? We sort of break it up into little sections and we sit down every day for about half hour and reflect on the whole thing.
Yeah. And has it created a better working environment?
Oh, definitely. And more of an open environment. We just seem to be a bit more open to each other as such. Our communication is a bit more,
That's wonderful. Yeah, and what about your knowledge with the regulations and?
That's got better. I think especially with some of the changes that have come in, that's been taken us a bit long, because there's everything else to learn as well. That's really helped to process it as well. It's not just one big lump sum of stuff. So it's helped to sort of process this in parts, I guess, in parts that relate to what we're doing in the curriculum at the time as well. And with the centre itself, it's sort of helped us. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. That was
That's all right.